To endure a lifetime of growth is no simple task. But there's a reason why we get wiser with age. As we grow in life, we let go of silly thoughts and evolve into better forms of ourselves. Day trading is no different. As amateur traders, we are filled with silly trading ideas until we learn how to expand these thoughts into more mature forms. Endurance in life and trading needs to be seen as how long are you willing to stay in the game? If you've ever read a self-help book and had an aha moment, you'll have seen this evolution firsthand. It can be defined as a single moment that changes your entire life, all stemming from one paragraph followed by a realization. Every single person is a victim to this, as we're all born knowing nothing. There isn't a single one of us who's born with knowing these life lessons. They are all learned skills, which we must take on and endure for the course of our life if we want to master our fields. Endurance is the lifelong conquest we embark on in order to achieve journeys and goals. I can remember during my day trading career, some of my biggest discoveries were onset from learning a life lesson completely outside of my field. This is how evolution in day trading happens. As much as we think targeted training, such as practicing technical analysis for 10 hours a day straight, will make us a master trader, we have many ceilings in life which targeted training simply can't break through. In fact, some of my best mentoring students have often been stuck until a life-shocking event happens that changes their perspective of humanity, which, by the way, has absolutely nothing to do with trading, but turns them into a better trader instantly. Like a light switch, they're seeing things on the charts they never thought they could. This is endurance. It's how much can you take before you quit? But the answer isn't sitting in front of charts getting punched in the face over and over by losing trades. The key is stepping to the side to work on a different skill that grows your mind in order to avoid these punches. Now, there's many skills in which we can learn, but today I'm simply focusing on the fear of failure, as it's one that plagues many traders. Let's first talk about what I call the disconnect. There's a disconnect that everyone develops in their mind when we say the words day trader. Immediately, we're poised with the question, how much money can I make? It's an equality that everybody else concludes to. Let's use an example. You tell people you want to become a doctor, and the first thing that comes to yours and their minds is, oh man, that's a lot of schooling, which sets up the expectation that you need to be smart and you have a long path of education in front of you, probably 10 years of education. Now, replace doctor with day trader, and what are the thoughts? That's gambling. How much money can you make? Completely subduing any use of the mind, such as educating ourselves before jumping into the career. Doctors make a fraction of what day traders do, yet it's acceptable for them to take the time to develop their skills and completely normal to have a 10-year grind before even seeing their first patient. Day traders, though, your expectation is to be rich within weeks, because people see it as gambling otherwise. It gets labeled another one of Jim's crazy ideas. Being a day trader and developing your mind is currently an abstract idea, only spoken by mad scientists practicing witchcraft. Now, part of being a day trader is realizing that nobody is special. Fear is time wasted. The only person that cares about it is you. Now, there's many skills we can learn in life and the endurance to continuously learn these skills to sharpen our mind. But for today, we're just going to be talking about the fear of failure, as this is one that I see plaguing almost every single day trader that I work with. The first thing to realize is that nobody is special. Fear is time wasted. The only person that cares about it is you. And when you realize that it wasn't real to begin with, it creates a shattered reality effect, where the more time you've wasted, the harder it is to overcome. Fear can defeat you. So it's important to realize that it's time wasted so that you can break the power it has over you. Fear is an egocentric component. It's an attribute to choose to have or not. It's the ego in devices. Early in life, we overachieve to get to some kind of goal that the world shows us. And as young minds, we can't independently think yet. We are simply influenced by what looks and feels good to other people, such as the rich and famous. This creates empty values that aren't even our own values. There comes an age where we need to prioritize our values and shift what we value in life. If you're constantly comparing yourself to your peers, you're blindly trying to achieve and live through their values. You can only achieve happiness when you complete your goals and accomplish the outcomes of your values. It's important to note that the values that you choose to live by must be internal values that are achievable right now. Unachievable goals create fear, but achievable goals, even when small, reinforce your values and allow them to evolve. Achieving reduces fear, and small steps allow you to achieve. A common thing I see is the following. You fear the fear of failing, just like anxious people get anxious about being anxious before they're actually anxious. So before you're even about to take a trade, which then could in theory create fear of failure, you fear that fear of failure all day long. Fear of failure should only exist in the moment and not all day long. You can't be afraid of fear. We often get stuck believing that we were right instead of accepting that we were wrong, which leads us to not accept the reality, but to be stuck standing in the other path. You can't grow if you're not willing to accept the correct personality. When you're wrong, there's two paths that get created. The one that was correct, where you acknowledge that you were wrong, and the path where you think you were right, which doesn't allow you to grow because you can't face the truth. Realize that happiness comes from solving a problem. We need to complete the journey, and we crave solutions. This is why you must accept when you are wrong and realize when you are right. If we only ever have failures, this designs fear of failure, as there's no offset in achieving. Achievements overcome fear and break that loop that creates fear. This is where we must use the power of choice. Every choice we make has a power behind it. All events in our life create choices, and it's up to us to use our power of choice to create the desired outcome. We can either let the bad events mold our futures, which leads to the blame game, or we can take responsibility for our choices and allow them to create our evolved path. Essentially, through choices, we are dictating whether we'll be defeated and go into the egotistical queue of the blame game, or that we can evolve and by choosing to learn to create better outcomes for our future. The thing about failure is it's our greatest teacher. The best inventions in history have stemmed from somebody who has failed multiple times in their life. Imagine an Apple iPhone, the perfect phone, and if it was invented as such in the first generation of its model, it would never have any room to grow and become a better product. Listen, fear is a simple one. You can overcome it by making small, achievable goals that allow you to evolve. If your goal is to achieve $50,000 this month, unless the stars line up perfectly, you are never going to achieve that end goal. However, if you were to break that goal into, say, well, instead of $50,000 this month, I need to make $12,500 every week. And instead of $12,500 every week, well, that's not so bad if we split that goal into two halves of the day, $1,225 each. All of a sudden, what seemed like a $50,000 goal simply has been put into manageable, smaller goals. And when we achieve those goals, not only does it allow us to evolve, it reduces fear to the point where it actually doesn't even exist. And when we're wrong, it allows us to hyper focus on that morning or afternoon that we made a mistake, which can then be used as fuel to make yourself better by analyzing what you did wrong. You see, if you were only to say, my goal is $50,000 a month, and to analyze the failure of hitting your achievement at the end of the month because you didn't make $50,000, it only gives you one opportunity to look at what you've done wrong. And then you'll end up saying, I'm just not cut out for this. I couldn't make it. It was a bad month, or I shouldn't have done this one trade. It cost me my entire account. If you learn how to dissect your failures every single day, well, now you can create a system where you're evolving on a daily basis, which clearly has great benefits.